I think, look, selling yourself and then also selling on behalf of a company is very, very tough. And I think the best piece of advice that I can give is that it's a lot like dating, at least when I used to date. I don't know about you guys now, but when I used to date, there used to be a hell of a lot of rejections all the time. But you had to keep putting yourself out there. And the only way that you learned what worked and what didn't work was by getting rejected. I mean, the same is true even when I'm doing VC pitches, right?
Yeah.
99 out of 100 will reject you, but that one person or one VC won't. So how do you get yourself into the mode or build the ability to deal with rejection?
So Azeem, how did you get comfortable with all these rejections, and how did you prepare yourself?
That's a really tough one. I'll give you some stories about what worked for me.
Yeah.
The first time that I went and I tried to sell myself, i.e., I was doing interviews for my first job and I was getting rejected. I mean, it was horrendous because you would go into an interview, you didn't know if you had performed well or not, and then you'd walk out and a day later you would get an email saying, sorry, you didn't make it. And it was really tough. And the only thing that helped, right? I mean, especially that first one, when I got rejected, was just knowing that there is always going to be something else, right? Yeah. And so there's this phrase that I used back then, which a lot of people use now, saying like, look, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
Right. But as I progressed in my career, I think one of the things that you learn is that it's not necessarily about the breadth of opportunities that you have when you're going and you're trying to make a sale. And again, that could be selling yourself for a specific job or selling your company's proposition. You have to go in with a hell of a lot more information than you think. You have to do a lot of research, and instead of saying, let me go and pitch to 10 people, you should pitch to 5, but spend that much more time on each pitch to understand what the client could potentially want or need, what their user personas are, whatever it may be. There's always some framework, but it's all about having more and more information. But just remember that just because you put together this information, it doesn't mean that you're going to use it in the interview or in the sale itself. But the fact is that by preparing that framework or that packet of information, the next interview that you go into, you'll be able to say, hey, this client said X, I had prepared this. Let me compare the two and let me modify such that in the next one, I can be better. In the next one, I can be better. But if you don't do this at all and you just wing it, you're just not going to get better.